Welcome to the Homeschool Together podcast. Where one working mom and a stay-at-home dad help you navigate the nuts and bolts of the growing and dynamic world of homeschooling.
With a focus on early learners, like me.
All the ins and outs of building and maintaining your homeschool life.
Homeschool.
Find out tips and tricks to make things like this easier.
I'm reading.
And ultimately, enjoy educating your kids. And what's that last thing?
Have fun together. Did I do good, Daddy?
Yeah, you did, sweetie. Good job. Welcome back to Homeschool Together podcast, and this is part 7 of our curriculum series where we'll be discussing RightStart Math. But first, before we begin, we want to make sure you're connecting with us on Facebook at Homeschool Together Podcast and following us on Instagram at Homeschool Together Podcast. But we have a new listener from Ireland.
In Ireland.
So we're going to really work hard on this one. Are you ready?
Yeah, we practiced on YouTube like all afternoon.
We have been. Are you ready?
Gia
Which. That is hello in Gaelic, Irish Gaelic. So
we think.
We are trying. And if you could, take a moment out to go over to iTunes and leave us a review. It really helps people find and get access to our podcast by leaving reviews. It helps us move us up in the rankings. So whenever anybody these days, and there are a lot searching for homeschoolers, homeschool, they'll be able to find that if you can leave us a review. So please, if you can, take a moment to go out and review and rate our podcast.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
So let's talk about RightStart Math. This is a hands-on math curriculum that we've been using, I think, for most of the year. I think we started early, like very early in the spring, sometime in the March timeframe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and we've been layering it on top of our pre-K curriculum for Blossom and Root that we've been doing here for most of this year. Actually, most of the time during the COVIDs, we've been
Right.
doing this. And this is basically a hands-on curriculum that's, I think, targets, pre-K, K, all the way up through elementary and even into middle school.
Yeah, actually, the first level A is what we're doing,
Yeah,
and that is
level
a kinder level.
But they have curriculums that go.
It goes all the way
up.
to middle school.
Yeah, all the way to middle school. So we've been doing this curriculum for a little while. Can you talk a little bit about the approach that they chose and maybe why we chose this one over maybe the Math Mammoth curriculum?
Yeah, originally we were looking at Math UC, RightStart, and Math Mammoth. Math Mammoth was much more affordable and just really relied on like a teacher's manual and workbook stuff. And since our daughter doesn't respond very well to that, we didn't want to go further with that at this time, although I have heard great things about Math Mammoth in future. And then we looked at Math UC, which was similar to RightStart, but RightStart has quite a bit more hands-on. It uses an Abacus to help reinforce concepts.
Yeah, we'll get into all the manipulatives that they have.
Yeah, the manipulatives are vast, and we thought that our daughter would connect best with that. We had done kind of a preschool. I think the book's called Preschool Math at Home, which was part of the Torchlight Pre-K curriculum that we had done last year. And our daughter did really well with that. But then we started Blossom and Root Early Years Volume 2, and that took a few steps kind of earlier, just learning basic counting and things. And so we were at this point where she'd basically completed a pre-K math. And what do we do? Do we wait and not start her on a kinder math until she's really of kinder age? Or do we get it now and see if it'll help keep her learning in math and take the lessons however we need to do them to make it work best? So that's the decision we made.
And we do a lot of game schooling. Obviously, we talk about that all the time, and we have a lot of our short bites are built around gaming, and gaming's a big aspect of what we do. And she's super interested in starting to game with us, play the games with us.
Right.
And one of the limiting factors that she had was a lot of the math that is built into a lot of the games we play. And this is, I think, one of the big hurdles that she needs to overcome in order to take on some more dynamic games,
Right.
being able to think more abstract, using the numbers and math to, progress in a game. That's something that's been lacking. So we felt that one of the good reasons is get her into the curriculum. She's, ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
She's accepting of it. She wasn't, it wasn't as much resistance as, say, like we had talked about in the last podcast with the reading. She's just kind of goes with the math. She does a really good job. So we wanted to make sure that we could just, continue on, and just as much as she wants to run out in front of us, we, run with her.
Right. And what's appropriate. So RightStart uses a mastery and spiral learning approach both. So basically it'll teach you concepts, wants you to master those, but they're almost like micro steps. And you can go into that in more detail, Matt, but they take very small steps they want you to master. And after a certain number of lessons, they're going to spiral back around to that concept from before, but they're going to dig in a little deeper on it. They expect mastery on that too before they move on. So this is kind of nice because it allows, when I looked at this curriculum, I thought, this is a great way to make sure that she's not falling behind. She always understands where we're at, and that we're going back and kind of giving a deeper dive after a few lessons, which I thought was nice as well.
Yeah, the looping is actually very interesting because and the one thing I think we'll continue to talk about throughout this whole review of this curriculum is the fact that it comes at those things in a different angle. Whether you're talking about a number and recognizing a number, whether you do that via, dots or on the Abacus, as we referenced, or by writing the number, they try to come at it from different ways and different orientations. And it's very disruptive, but in a good way, so that she doesn't get locked into the simple number line. We were joking before this is, if we look back and remember how we learned math and learned addition and subtraction, it was very simple stuff. Learn your numbers. Here's your number line. Let's get going.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
And the things that I've seen laid out in this curriculum, especially somebody who has a physics background and an engineering background, math has always been, probably one of my stronger points in my entire life. Always came at it easily, moved through it pretty well, pretty easily through all college. It was never really a big challenge to me. And to be able to come at it from, having a wide breadth of math knowledge, and having gone the, 99% of the way, the distance that most people would ever go in math.
Yeah, I mean, you have half a master's in math.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. To see it at this ground level in such a thoughtful manner is really interesting. At least just from an engineer, from that mentor standpoint, to be able to see this, because I don't remember what it was like when I was a kindergartner or first grader. I just remember I learned math, right?
Yeah, I remember little bits of it from early elementary. One thing when I was researching curriculums and asking other parents what they liked best, lots of folks said they loved RightStart, and they said that they wish they had started their kids on it because it gave such a great foundation. And when they had done other programs and then eventually gotten to RightStart, they had to backtrack because they just didn't have the solid foundation. Their kids could do the work, but it sounded to me more like they didn't have the complete picture.
Yeah, one of the things, like in my physics background, that was so important when I was in college was intuiting the answer, understanding what I've talked to you about this a lot of times, and I think that's what the discipline required. But being able to look at a problem and say, I know what type of answer I'm looking for. Like I know what the order of magnitude or what is anticipated for this answer. And I really feel that this curriculum, I'm not talking about, my quantum B class in senior college, but even at this level, at a kinder curriculum, she's intuiting the world around her. She's understanding the world around her is built around math, and that there's math in everything. And I really appreciate that, especially from a STEM point of view. But, I'm talking about how I have a deep background in math. I do want to tell everybody that this is not a complex curriculum. It's not hard. You don't have to have a STEM background. This can be taught by anybody.
It's very prescriptive.
And we'll talk a little bit of how the lessons go, but it is laid out in a very nice manner. They have very good steps. Everything is clearly written, is clearly understood, that whether it's the activity or whether it's, whatever task you need to complete for the day, it's very easy to understand. There's nothing complex. So anybody, even grandma, if grandma has to teach the lesson for the day, not a big deal.
Yeah, we have sent the math lessons to grandmas before,
yeah,
and it's been just fine.
It's been just fine. So you don't have to have a math background to teach this. Now, I don't know if that's the case, that people would feel comfortable, if they were in high school and they're doing, say, maybe pre-calculus or early calculus work, that might be a different route. But at this level, very simple, very easy to do. Not like we're counting Skittles or anything like that, but it's very easy to accomplish the tasks. It doesn't require a lot of deep math background.
Yeah, that's good to know.
So let's talk a little bit about the structure. So the curriculum comes with a wide range of manipulatives. This includes, I think at the core is the Abacus. They use the Abacus for counting. So they have 10 rows of 10. So you get up to 100. If you flip it over, I think they have higher order number places. So you can go up to like 1 million or 100 million based on what you use.
Yeah.
So it's really useful in that sense. We use basically just the 1 to 100 side. Very simple. They also comes with tiles, dot cards, which are really important to them. They also do finger counting, so you're seeing the numbers from multiple different ways. I really like the dot cards because at least up to number 6, it looks like the dice rolling. So again, that's really important to us. So a lot of times I will pull in dice as opposed to the dot cards, so she can kind of, connect the math to the gaming aspect, so she can take advantage of that. Also, there's
geo boards as well.
Yeah, there's rubber band boards for geometric shapes.
She's had a lot of fun with that. I remember playing with those when I was in elementary school.
Yeah,
thinking
these are
they
the
were very fun.
square peg boards, and then on the other side is a round peg, so you can create triangles and stuff like that. Very, very cool. Comes with rubber bands, and there's even a bunch of manipulatives in the box that we have yet to get to.
Yeah, I think that's important to state. So when and we'll talk about costs a little bit later, but when you do go and purchase the manipulatives, that manipulative set takes you from kinder through the end of middle school.
Yeah.
So there's a ton of manipulatives that we haven't gotten to yet. We won't get to in this year
I think there's
or next couple years.
Yeah, I think there's a bunch of stuff. We have a nice box, a nice little crate that we keep everything in. There's also some user manuals. There's obviously the lesson guide that we follow all the time. And then there's kind of these worksheets that are kind of activities.
Yeah, it's like a student packet type
thing.
student
packet and that type of stuff. So everything's very high quality. The Abacus is, even though it's plastic, it's very strong. It has metal lines to hold all the beads, so it doesn't feel like it's going to break, especially under almost 5-year-old playing around with it. It feels like it's pretty rigid. Haven't had any problems with any of those products kind of breaking down and whatnot.
Yeah, it seems like very high quality components.
Some of the cards that you have to cut out that you use a lot, like the dot cards or the finger counting cards, you might want to laminate those.
Maybe I should.
That would be helpful because you do get a lot of usage out of them. So what does a lesson look like? Typically the lesson's about 2 pages in the spiral bound, and it typically breaks it up into about 2 to 4 sections depending on what they're trying to achieve, and it goes up in complexity. So it always begins with a review, and the review may not necessarily be a review of the previous lesson. It may be a review of a concept that came up 3 or 4 lessons before, and this is that looping concept that you talked about at the beginning. But it's not the exact same thing you did there. Like, for example, today we were doing counting on the Abacus by 1s, and then counting by 2s, and then we had to pick a number, or they gave you a prescription. They said, okay, start with the number 3 and have your learner count by 2 from there. So instead of going 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, they have to go 3, 5, 7, 9, right? Mm-hmm. And so it breaks up that rhythm, that little bit of discomfort, so that maybe they have to pause and then come back and think about it. So it's really nice. There's obviously the song.
There's a book. There's a CD and a book of this counting song, and it's done. Is it done every day? Every lesson?
It is literally done every day. It's the first thing you do, and it goes from 0 to 10, and it's a song you sing. You're gonna sing it a lot.
It's haunting you in your dreams.
It's haunting me in my dreams, and I might.
But as we were just talking about this, as much as you kind of hate this song because it's done every time. First of all, our daughter loves it, so totally working for her.
Totally working.
And it includes all the different methods of counting, right?
Yeah, they have the multiple ways of identifying numbers by fingers, by the number, the physical number, by dot cards, and also by rhyming. So the song has a rhyming nature to it, and it goes all the way up to 10. It repeats itself, so it's 5 specific rhymes. So like yellow is the sun, this is only 1. The same one for 6 is yellow is the sun, 6 is 5 and 1. So you have that kind of repetition. It's been really helpful for her to learn her numbers that way. Now she's still, 6 to 10 we're still a little loose on. she can obviously get it if it's on a number line. She can get it if they're in order. But it's really nice to ram that home every single day and getting that visually.
She loves it. She's so proud. She runs up to Grandma, hear my math song.
Yeah. Oh, they also have the abacus in the book as well. So it's the abacus, the dot cards, the fingers, the numbers, and the rhyming. So it's like you do it every single day, just becomes rhythmized, and it's really nice. So they have this kind of refresher section, and I've been noticing the refresher sections have been growing a little bit. So as they want to pack in more concepts, like today they had the song, they had the counting on the abacus, they had counting from a specific number, and then they're starting to teach the concept of tens, 110, 210, 310, 410, and we do that on the abacus, and 1010 is 100, and so she can understand that there's all the way up to 100. And then we get into the lesson, and like today the lesson was around a specific number, so we learned to write that number, use it on a grease board, write the number, understand the number, use the dot cards to count up to that number. Then they had a cool little game with all the dot cards and say organize them. So I mixed them up into a pile. I got the stop timer because, putting a little bit of a game or a little bit of urgency got her really excited. When it had started, she had to sort them in the correct number, in the correct order.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then I think that's like the first two sections, and then another two sections on more counting, more abacus use, just ingraining different topics and attacking these things from different angles. So that's typically a lesson. And if you were to sit down, with a learner and and they didn't get exhausted and tired and whatnot, you could probably do the whole lesson in about an hour, maybe a little bit less. Long? Sometimes you got to repeat things, like you have to do things a couple times, and like even though a section may only say might only be 6 or 7 sentences long, there may be 3 or 4 different variations you have to do within that. Like do it from this point, do it from that point, do it from this point. So, it takes time, and then the learner is doing it. So they're moving things on the abacus, or they're counting things, or they're sorting cards, or they're working on their fingers, or, they're doing some activity. So a lot of times it may take a little bit of time. So I would say anywhere between a half hour to about an hour, depending on the lesson. I've noticed some lessons are a lot longer. Some are a lot shorter. The ones that are longer are a little bit easier because you're tackling more information. The ones that are shorter tend to be more intense. So
smart.
Just as a heads up. So every time when I look at it, I go, oh, this is a shorter one. So I'm going to have to, understand this might be a little bit more intense. Lessons are very simple. They're not overwhelming. Easily we can get about 1, maybe 2 done a week. Depending on how we're moving, depending on what we have going on that week. If I do 2 a week, I kind of run out of space at the end to get that second one done, because I find that I can do about 15 minutes with my learner per lesson. So I am, like we discussed in the last talk, I am breaking this up a little bit. So maybe talk a little bit about how I teach these lessons. I pulled into the idea of the micro lessons, and these are short, small lessons, like say 5, maybe 10 minutes long, knocking out a few concepts, maybe just doing the review, then going on to something else, then coming back and then doing, say, the number identification and the card sorting, or a little bit of abacus work. And in that, I get about 15, 20 minutes done a day on a math day. But I try not to go more than 3 days a week. I found that to be kind of exhausting for her. And I start to see her, drifting a little bit. So that's kind of where I keep it to. So that works out to be about 1, maybe 2 lessons a week. And it just depends on where we are.
Mm-hmm. And I would say that level A, the kinder, is 125 lessons. Mm-hmm. So I think that if you had a slightly older child, ours is just almost 5, that you could probably do 2 or even 3 lessons a week and it would be fine. We're going at this pace just because she's young and we want to continue the math growth, but we're not pushing it.
I've added a number of things to the curriculum outside of what the base curriculum requires, because there's a couple sticking points that I know she's missing out on that I want to reinforce. For example, number recognition is a good one. We talked about this before, I think in the last podcast, where we knew she knew her colors, but she got stuck on them. And just by reinforcing over and over, all of a sudden, it just clicked on her. And I'm sort of getting that with the numbers as well.
Still has a problem with 15.
So yeah, 15.
We're great in counting to 14, It's like 14, 16, 19, 15, 17, 18 are just like, they're rough.
So depending on how long the review section is that we talked about a little bit earlier, I will add in a little bit extra. Or if I see something in the review section that is similar to one of these additions that I've been doing, I'll add this in there as well. For example, I do some sight card work where 1 through 10. I just have simple cards that have 1 through 10 on it. And I shuffle them up and I give them to her, and she just has to tell me the number. It's very simple, nothing hard. I also do this index card where I call it the camel case, where on the card has 3 numbers. So for example, 1, 2, 3. I have the 2 very large, and I have 1 and 3 on either side as small. Because I really want her to understand, I think it's something that is very helpful for a lot of young learners, is the idea of knowing that the number is not in isolation. It has something around it, especially before, things that precede before and after, especially if you get into a situation where you say, hey, count from 7. They'll get stuck there because they can't remember what came before that. But if you knew 6 came before it, you can go 6, 7, and immediately you get into your counting rhythm, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? That's something that's kind of stuck. She gets stuck on. A lot of times when you go from 7, you say add 2 more. She'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, as opposed to starting from 7, going 7, 8, 9, or 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've built these little camel case cards where it's 1, 2, 3, and then the next card is 2, 3, 4, and obviously 3 will be the big number. And what I'll do is I'll point, what number is this? What number is that? So that she then starts to associate numbers with the numbers that are around it. And I think that's really powerful when they start to do math, especially when they need to do that math in their head to understand, okay, they can visualize what they're seeing as opposed to memorizing just the cadence of numbers. They need to be able to visualize and see what they're doing. So if you say 7 plus 10, that's 17. Or if you go like 4 plus 3, and you can visually see 4, and then you see out ahead of it 3 more, you can visually see that and go, okay, that's 7. Right? You start to see numbers in their dimension with respect to everything else. I think it's really important. So it's something that I've been adding in. And she really responds to it. And then also it helps to reinforce just the sight of the number so she remembers those things. Also, a lot of whiteboard writing. I've been doing little quizzes with her. So I put dots, and then I ask her to write the number that's next to the dot. So if I put 2 dots, 5 dots, 3 dots, 4 dots, I ask her to, I just do a little quiz and say, well, how many, what is this? This is 2 dots. Okay, that's a 2. I need you to write a 2. And obviously they're always out of order, so she doesn't think they're in order. That's a lot of things I've been adding. Also, a 52 card deck of cards. Very simple, playing Go Fish with that. You obviously don't get the 1 or the 0 work in there, but you do get 2 to 10. It's a great way to, I'm looking for a 3. Do you have a 3? No. Go fish. Right. Simple things like that has been really helpful. Obviously bringing in the games, but also teaching math.
Yeah, we had a early Go Fish game, and it had animals on it. And so she would just constantly say, do you have an elephant? And we'd be like, no, it's a 3, right? And so playing actually with just a bicycle deck of cards.
Stripping out the because they do that, right? And all the elephants are 11 and all the pigs are 10.
Right.
And so she just knows, hey, can I get a pig? Stripping out that and just going with a set of bicycle cards really helps to reinforce the numbers, right? Also, we've been playing Uno, specifically Lion King Uno. We start playing the Lion King soundtrack.
Yeah, that really got her attention more than regular Uno. We have regular Uno, and she wasn't all that interested. But Lion King Uno was like, ooh. Yeah,
because it's got the cards, it's got the numbers. It's really, really helpful. Also, it helps reinforce the colors and the numbers and understanding how they switch and move. It's very very small amount of rules that are very specific. So it's important for her to remember. Now, when we're playing that game, I'm almost every single turn I'm telling her that, it's that number 7 or any other color that has a 7, right? I mean, no, a different number of that color or a different color of that number, right? So it's a good way for her to reinforce those aspects. So again, that's another game that we play. And these are the type of things that I don't include in the micro lesson. These are things outside of the micro lesson because these are games. So we'll do a little bit of math, and I'll say, okay, when we're done with our math lesson, let's play a game. And it'll be Uno. but in reality, I'm just continuing the math lesson.
Right. And
Right.
works so well for her. She's so excited to play any game.
So it's a great way if you want to do a little, Alfie Cohn is crying in the corner right now, but a little bit of carrot and stick. You can dangle a game in front of her to get her through the math lesson. She's excited to do the math lesson because she can then go play Uno, but she fell into the trap of daddy, and it's still math.
Well, it's not that really that she
No, it's
doesn't
not.
enjoy the math. It's just that it's only so exciting.
Yeah, it is. So that's kind of how I teach it. Not much deviation from, the lesson plan. I do add a few extra things in there just because it fits into her style and the things that we like to achieve. But let's talk a little bit about the cost of a program like this. So what is a homeschooling family looking at here?
So for the manual and student worksheets, level A, which is kinder, starts at $91, and then it goes up to $113 for the highest middle school level H. So that's just the manual and the worksheets. And then you need to buy the materials. And this is where I got sticker shock a little bit. So the materials kit's $207, and that takes you elementary through middle. There's a small additional $20 geometry thing you need to get in like 7th grade. But
it is a commitment. But if you think from kinder all the way through middle school, well, that's 8th grade.
right.
You're looking at 8 years. You divide 300 by 80. It's not that expensive.
No, it really isn't. And the other thing is that you can get a reduced, it's called, I think, the Super Saver set. It's only $115, and it only includes the items that are specific to RightStart that you couldn't get anywhere else. So they have so many things in the pack that you could find elsewhere.
Does it
Little
include the
manipulative
abacus?
things and things. The abacus is in there.
Yeah.
All the things that are very specific.
Yeah, the things like the tiles and the dot cards, those are easy things that you can make on your own, or grab.
Right, you could get them at Dollar Tree.
Heck, the tiles you can just use Lego pieces or something. As an
Yeah,
alternative.
there are other options. So we decided, because we're going to be hopefully going with the long haul with this curriculum, since we really like it, that it would be fine to go ahead and purchase the full set. Additionally, there's really great resale value for this. There's a great RightStart Math buy-sell curriculum on Facebook, and there's some other sites that sell. And so we felt like, well, even if this isn't perfect for us, it's not going to be it's not a total loss. So not too terrible for starting out. And you can teach multiple children with the same package. You'll just need additional student worksheets, which are $17 to $38 depending on your level, lower cost for the younger levels. And that will get you another set of worksheets. So for our second child, the other reason why we felt the materials wasn't a bad cost for us is that $17 for the second child to be able to pick this up and do this same curriculum for a year. So that's pretty great.
Yeah, that poor second kid is never going to get anything new.
So if you want to do 2 children at once, you will need to get, there is an option. I think when you buy, it's extra $10. Instead of getting worksheet spiral bound, you can get them as a digital PDF, and then you can print as many as you want. You will have to get like a second abacus. I think it's like $15. So a little bit pricey, but really for the long haul with the materials, not bad to do, and having good resale. I would say that if this is a curriculum that you want, I believe this was the one that was going to charge shipping. And I went to Rainbow Resources, which we talked about earlier in the first part of our curriculum series about where to find good curriculum. And they have free shipping it's over $35 maybe. So I ended up getting it from there, so I didn't have to pay shipping.
So we'll get into the pros and cons and neutral aspects of the curriculum. And again, we want to always reiterate that every curriculum has its ups and downs, and a lot of those ups and downs may be unique to us. So do consider what we're saying with respect to what your learner likes and what your learner doesn't like, and keep those caveats there. So the first thing that I like about this is that as an engineer, physicist, it is enjoyable to see the creative way that they are teaching these concepts of addition and subtraction. I really think it's a nice base. I think it helps to reinvigorate that there's math in everything, and the way we're incorporating that into the games. And we know that our learner loves games, and games are such an important thing that we're going to be doing just as a family going forward for forever. It's important for her to have good math skills in order for her to sufficiently beat me in a lot of these games that I know she's going to do.
I'm going to have no chance.
I'm kind of teaching her how to destroy me in games. I'm seeding my own doom.
I'm never going to be able to play any game with you guys.
I can feel a lot of rage quitting coming up in my future.
I mean, I can only right now play games that have luck involved, and once you teach her,
you can't score this much on Terraforming Mars. How did you get 300 points?
This is like true story. We played Terraforming Mars with some friends. They're teenagers, and we were just slaughtered.
Yeah,
example, I don't even know how they scored that many points.
Yeah, we're getting victories of say 120 points, and they come rolling in with like 220. We didn't even know that was capable.
Yeah. It was. Or was it Terraforming Mars? It was Dice Forge. Anyways, whatever. Yeah, we got totally just schooled by some teenagers. So
anyway, so I think I'm seeding my future doom with the math. I like the layering aspect of the curriculum as well, how it continuously comes back. And it does feel, even though it is a mastery program, if your learner did not 100% retain that information, you're going to come back and you're going to reiterate and reinforce it again. You got another opportunity to try to do it. You don't have to be so hard-nosed that they learn every single little thing, because they're going to be coming back to it, and they know they're going to be learning it in a different way. And so that's been just a great. I love how it comes at things in a different way, because that's kind of a learning style that I've been doing with her for a while. Is this coming at things from a different angle, and how I see how she responds to that, and that is an important thing. Just from my relationship with her. Understanding what she likes, this curriculum does that for her, and I think that's really important, especially since we are STEM people. The M is really important to me as I stare at all my physics books on my wall right now. It is important to me. I want her to know these things, whether she becomes a STEM person when she grows up or not. I want her to have a good basis of this, and I really feel this is doing that. So this is kind of leading me to be a good recommendation for this curriculum. I do like all the manipulatives because it really helps our kinesthetic learner. All the little things that she can touch, all the things she can move. Again,
the Abacus has been great.
The Abacus is really cool. I found her a couple times just taking the Abacus and playing with it. Mm-hmm. And not that she's like, oh, look, Daddy, I'm counting all these things. She's just playing with it and moving it. And again, it goes back to that physical world, embodies the math you learn type of idea. And I really love that concept, because I think that's super important. And that's one thing that I think is lost when people teach math, is that they look at it as a language, and they don't, if you teach a language, one of the best ways to teach that is actually go to that area, immerse yourself into it, right?
Yeah, teach a language through culture.
Yeah, teach a language through culture, watching TV shows, watching movies through that. That's a great way to learn that language. Same thing with math. I really think we lose this. Like, for example, in the Blossom and Root STEM activity the other week, they had us go out and harvest things, like, for example, rocks and sticks and whatnot. And then we had to count them and plot them on a graph. That is just a great way to reinforce the idea that math is everywhere you look. From the number of books you have, to the temperature outside, to the miles per gallon in your car. Math is everywhere. And to experience math and have a good appreciation that you are immersed, that math is just a reflection of the world around you, as opposed to this terrible, evil thing that I don't like to do. I think it's a good basis for her to get into. That being said, let's talk a little bit about the cons of the program. Big thing for me, because I'm, a penny pincher type of guy. It is a costly program, so there's a little bit of a fear that if your learner didn't like it, like, for example, some of the trials that I've been having with the reading curriculum, which I have been, thank you to that Reddit mom who helped me. I have some breakthroughs today, even just today, on the reading programs. Have been really helpful. But what if your learner doesn't like this curriculum, or they don't respond to it? There's a little bit of a fear there that I'm going to drop $300. From us, we've been doing a lot of digital curriculums, and those are cheaper curriculums, and actually just spending $300 on a thing is a little terrifying. But as Ariel said, there's a good resale value on the curriculum, so that should kind of, get past some of that anxiety.
And the next episode in the curriculum series is all about how to find used curriculum.
Oh,
so stay tuned.
Some of the games that are in the activities are, I think, a little
lame.
Not lame, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I play these awesome video games every day, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, dude, let's play Pong. It just doesn't have it, right? So we play a lot of fun games with her, and then I'm sure these games are fun, but compared to what she plays with on a daily basis, they're not really super exciting. The activities don't get as much distance as I would have hoped. Some of these activities I wish we would be able to come back to. There are a lot of activities where you cut them out and then you cut the pieces out and you use them a couple times. She just doesn't respond to them as much. We still do them, but sometimes I can see the writing on the wall when I see the activity that I go, okay, this may be only a one-time use thing. And the last one is just kind of a joke, but the yellow is the sun. I've been singing it forever. So I have two great fears in my life. One is aliens, as my wife knows. And the second one is hearing that song over and over and over and over again. So it's kind of a joke con there, but you do sing that song a lot. So be prepared. You may hate that one. Something I'm kind of neutral on is that even though the curriculum has a lot of manipulatives, and that's really helpful for my kinesthetic learner, you are still sitting in a chair at a desk a lot. And I really feel that this curriculum could benefit just a little bit, maybe even a 5 or 10% improvement to get up, get moving, go outside, do some activities, do some unique things that maybe get you out of the chair. The last thing you want to do is kind of like associate math with sitting down and staring at a table and playing with little things on the table. There are ways to teach math that are beyond just sitting on the table. And if you do, some YouTube or you do some Google searches, you can find easy ways to do that if you need to incorporate that. But that was something that was missing, so I kind of wish they would have a little bit more there. But all in all, I'm very positive on this curriculum. I like it. We're going nice and slow. We're going at a good pace for her. I could go a little bit faster. Like this week, I'm almost done with the lesson, so I could probably jam in another one. She doesn't really fight me on doing the lesson. I like the approach.
Yeah, she looks forward to getting her lessons done. She doesn't dread them at all.
No, she doesn't. And so I've been pretty happy about that, and just been happy about the curriculum in general. And I didn't know if I was going to like one of these kind of, we've been doing the digital curriculums. I didn't know we'd like one of these pre-boxed, here's everything, especially with my unschooling kind of, nervous twitch on doing a lot of these things, or just being adaptive, like being able to move and switch and change. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I liked it.
Yeah, I think it's very well thought out. It's very prescriptive. You don't have to, you're adding extra things to it, which is great.
Which is fine.
But I don't think that a parent needs to add anything to it if they just want to open and go. There's tons of manipulatives for you. And because it teaches things in such a different variety of ways, it seemed like there was something that's bound to resonate with your learner, which is one of the reasons I really liked it too, because for the cost, I was a little bit concerned. I know she's kinesthetic. She'll probably like all these pieces, but knowing that it's going to approach things from different ways, it's like, okay, well, one of these is gonna resonate.
Well, that is the RightStart Math. We hope you enjoyed this review. Hopefully it helps you make a good decision on, what you want for your learner, your pre-K, K, and your early years learner. But let's get into something that we're interested in this week, something that we're excited about.
Yeah, we're into Lego this week. I
mean,
my
gosh, for the first time.
I know. Matt and I have been just like, we've been waiting.
Well, we've gone from Mega Blocks to Duplos.
Mega Blocks were like a detour we didn't ask for. It was a gift.
Yeah. I am Duplo from Planet Duplo.
Yeah, we were like Mega Blocks, but she could play with them at a year, and I think Duplo was a year and a half, maybe. So that's why. Anyway, Mega Blocks out. First thing we got, we got Duplos, and we were like, yay, Duplo! But Duplos are only so great. Matt and I have such great memories as children of having Lego bricks ourselves and sets. Actually, my parents still have all of my original Lego sets from the 90s, so that's really awesome. And our daughter has had an issue with sucking on her fingers, kind of like a thumb sucking, but a little bit different. And we've been trying to break through this wall for so long, and we finally talked with her.
Also, just having chewing on things
in general. So we couldn't give her anything small, and so we're trying to make a breakthrough here before she turns 5 and get her over this point. We've tried just about everything at this point with it, and one of the things we talked to her about is that she could do Lego with mommy and daddy if she could have good behavior with this and not put anything in her mouth anymore. And it's been like overnight she has changed because she is so excited about Lego. And so we put the little one to bed, and she gets to stay up for an extra half hour with mommy and daddy and just work with Lego sets, and is the happiest child.
Let's be honest. those were two happy adults as well playing Legos on the.
I mean, we've been waiting for this day.
So yeah, we have a box that sits on top of the fridge, so she doesn't have free access to it.
Right.
But a few of the Lego stocking stuffer Christmas gifts that I've been giving to you for the last few years have found their way back from the office because.
Yeah, they were all on my desk.
Yeah, you haven't been in the office in a few months. They found their way back home, and we've been playing with them, and it's been a lot of fun.
You know, what I really realized was, obviously, Lego is great for all things STEM related, and it's great for building an imagination.
The original, the Minecraft, the original.
Right. It's great for all those things, but I didn't realize our child loves puzzles. She's huge into jigsaw puzzles and things.
Well, yeah, we have to say the honest thing. She's been doing puzzles since she was like 2 years old.
I mean,
crazy.
I don't know. At this point, she's
doing
not yet 5, and she does 100-piece puzzles. So
pretty easily 100-piece, and we're starting to find the elusive 200-piece puzzle that does not exist. Please get puzzle people out there. Please start making 200-piece puzzles. We need
200 and 250-piece. Why it has to jump from 100 to 350 or 500? I just don't get. Anyways, yeah, she can do a 200-piece with a little bit of help. And so, of all the things, this is her strongest area. There's other areas she's much weaker in, but this one she really excels. And one of the things I noticed was looking at these sets. It's like I was kind of torn. Do we get her a big, classic box that just has every brick and color in it? And spoiler alert, we did get her that for her birthday, so that's coming.
Spoilers. Careful, you better not listen to this podcast with her.
Just because she's enjoyed it so much. But I found that actually getting the sets, we got a little princess set, and I've got one that's got boats, and we have a little Harry Potter set. Actually going through the steps, having to look at the picture and follow the directions she was learning a lot about, and some of the books have just ideas in them, and so she's learning how to put those together. It was quite interesting.
But a lot of them did not even have, like, they don't, Lego's really good at it, where it's a wordless. It's wordless, steps.
But it has numbers.
Yeah.
And so some of them were in multiple columns, so she had to follow the numbers in order to put it together in the right sequence. And so it was actually a great learning opportunity for her in more ways than I expected it to be.
Well, yeah, and on top of that, we found out that she's a little Lord Business. Like, she absolutely requires you to do exactly what is in the description and in the steps, because if you deviate from that, she's like, Daddy, that is not correct. Like, if you follow us on Instagram, I made a little Harry Harkonnen floating orb Harry Potter, and then I put Hedwig on top of Harry Potter's body, and it was it Hedwig Potter, and my daughter was not happy about
that did not.
She sat there.
Not kosher.
She sat there while she was doing, I think she was doing the Sleeping Beauty Aurora one. And she had to stop, and she was just staring daggers at me. Daddy, that is not right. Daddy, fix it. That is not right. She was like, really Lord Business on me here.
I think we're going to watch a Lego movie.
Yeah, you got to watch a Lego movie with that one. But anyways, it's really nice for her to just kind of being able to follow recipes and directions and being able to achieve things. It's almost like a puzzle in that respect, where
it was great.
She's looking at a picture, she puts 100 pieces together, she gets that awesome picture. The puzzle here is a bunch of Legos, and you have to follow the instructions. So I can see a lot of parallels with that. I could see that she will really, really like this, and all the dexterity work.
Oh yeah, all those tiny pieces and trying to figure that out. I think what's interesting is, basically, we found a way to bring something into our home that we're not ready for her to free play with Lego because the younger child is too young. But this was a great way for us to bond with something that engages us as well, and we really enjoy.
Well, it was good. It was good. Sometimes when you have the younger one, the older one can feel a little forgotten, and instituting this little 30-40 minute the three of us time with Legos has been really enjoyable. Sitting at the kitchen table and just doing Legos together and talking has been really fun.
Yeah, it's been terrific.
So we encourage you to go out there and get a nice Lego set.
Yeah, if you don't already have one.
If you don't already have one, go out and get a new one. And
sit down together and make it a family thing. We've been doing it basically every night after dinner, after the little one goes to sleep, and just enjoying time engaged and playing with her.
Enjoying time together.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time.
Happy homeschooling!
I try to change it up. I try to put like, I put like beats to it. Yellow is the sun. This is only one. Kind of do like a Boys to Men type of version of the song.
That sounds terrible.